So you thought I was done making opinionated videos.
Well, guess what? I lied! Here are my Splatoon hot takes.
But first...
Hey you! Yeah, you! Look at this graph. Uh-oh, that's not very good. Subscribe so we can fix that. If you don't, I will send this Waddle Dee to Mincemeat Metalworks. So be sure to subscribe.
Disclaimer, this is all my opinion and not objective fact. You are welcome to disagree with me on this. This is not meant to be a personal attack on anyone that does like these things, because hating on someone because they like something is cringe. Okay, back to the video. Number 1. Splatfests are kinda overrated. Okay, so to understand why I think this, I first need to give some context. During Splatfests, the only multiplayer mode available is Turf War. There are no ranked modes, and I'm just gonna be brutally honest, I hate Turf War. I think it's a bad mode, and I think ranked battle is just objectively better. Turf War is just kinda boring. Compared to the ranked modes, the objective feels a lot more decentralized. You basically just muck around painting the floor for 3 minutes, and it feels a lot less engaging. While the other game modes' objectives are extremely important and affect how the entire game mode plays out, Turf War's main objective only really comes into play during the very end of the battle, aka the last 30 seconds effect. And this is my main reason as to why I don't play Turf War. Basically, you can be absolutely demolishing the enemy team for most of the game, but if you slip up and your team gets wiped during the last 30 seconds of the game, then you probably lost that game. And I don't know about you, but that feels extremely unrewarding. And this isn't a problem with ranked because the objective is a lot more centralized. For example, if you get a wipeout and stop the enemy team from getting the Rainmaker to the goal in your base, you still have to go all the way across the map to bring it to the goal in the enemy base. Even if you get the upper hand, you still have to work hard if you want to make a comeback and win. But because Turf War's objective is so loose and decentralized, it's much easier to make a comeback. And most of the time, a few kills during the last 30 seconds of the game decide the outcome of the whole thing. And this creates a huge problem because unlike ranked, there's no knockout feature to make the game end early if you're doing well enough. Turf War games will always last 3 minutes. And because there's no knockout feature, there's a lot more spawn camping. You're basically forced to spawn camp because, especially during the last 30 seconds of the game, you cannot afford to let the enemy team get the upper hand because you will probably lose the game if that happens. And as somewhat of a Splatfest grinder myself, these flaws become more and more apparent the longer you play. It's just a lose-lose scenario. The competitive players complain about how they can't play ranked, and the casual players complain about competitive players tryharding in Turf War. Every single Splatfest, I see so many people going like, "Grrr, the competitive players are ruining the game! Stop tryharding!" But like, can you really blame them? They can't play ranked during Splatfest. They can only play the baby beginner mode, so of course they're gonna be tryharding. They can't play the modes that they're normally tryharding in, and the solution to this is obvious. Just let us play ranked during Splatfest. Like, I can't believe it's been 3 whole games and we're still stuck with the baby beginner mode. There's literally no good reason as to why we can't play ranked during Splatfest. Especially since Splatfests are held during weekends, you know, when the most amount of people are playing the game. It's like, you want more people to be playing during Splatfest, but you're giving them less options as to how they want to play. It's literally like, oh, do you want to play Turf War? No.
That's too damn bad!
And the fact that it's been like this for 3 games now is just embarrassing. Honestly, I think Big Run is more enjoyable than Splatfest, because not only can you still play ranked during a Big Run, but it also makes the bad maps unplayable for a weekend. Number 2. Side Order was disappointing. How do I even start this one? Oh, I know. Side Order, more like Side Border.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I want to say that I really enjoyed the gameplay of Side Order. The ship system is really cool and you can do a lot of silly stuff with it. Plus the whole roguelike thing works surprisingly well for a Splatoon game. And now you might be thinking, well, if you like the gameplay so much, then why do you still think Side Order is disappointing? Well, it's because of this stupid, ugly, boring, basic, bland, brain-dead Commander Tartar at home, lame, uninteresting, watered-down, nothing burger, high pH level, no personality having, cardboard cutout, idiotic, mind-numbing, mega-mind-looking loser! I should not be getting this worked up when I'm sick, my god. I hate Order. I hate Order so much. It's the most nothing burger character I have ever seen and literally brings nothing to the table in terms of Splatoon villains. It's literally just Commander Tartar but worse in every single way. I hate it. I talk more about why I hate Order so much in my Splatoon villain rant, so go watch that if you want to learn more. But yeah, Side Order's story is just not very good. I like the lore, but the actual main story is just... Like, it had such a strong opening with the fake-out Marina boss fight that made me think she was actually going to be the main villain, but then it immediately just falls off a cliff and is reduced to a snail's pace until the final boss when it starts rapidly picking up. A final boss which, like I said, is completely uninteresting and brings nothing to the table, at least lore-wise. Gameplay-wise, I actually liked the Overlorder boss fight, since it was actually really challenging the first time around, and I've been wanting a harder Splatoon boss fight for a while. But like, they kept hyping up the final boss during the main game, and I was like,
dude, this final boss must be absolutely incredible if they're hyping it up this much.
Then I actually got to the final boss, and I was like,
wait, that's it?
Honestly, I'm gonna say it. I think Side Order's story would have been a lot more interesting if Marina was the main villain. Or at least she would have been a way more interesting villain than Order. I mean, I like some aspects of Side Order's story. It was cool seeing how much Pearl and Marina's relationship has evolved, and getting more Dead Fish lore was really nice. But when compared to Octo Expansion, it kind of falls flat. Maybe I'd set my expectations too high from the get-go if I was comparing it to Octo Expansion, but I don't know. I thought that since Nintendo was capable of making something as good as Octo Expansion, I expected something of at least similar quality for Splatoon 3's DLC. And gameplay-wise, they definitely delivered. Side Order's gameplay is extremely fun, and I remember the day it came out, I stayed up until like 3 a.m. playing it. It was just super fun.
But story-wise, yeah, it definitely could have been better.
Oh my god, I need to talk about this. Ox inclusion has to be the most key-jangling thing I have ever seen. Nintendo was basically like,
Hey, look, it's Dead Fish. You want more Dead Fish lore, right? Well, if you sit through this god-awful storyline, we'll give you more Dead Fish lore. Doesn't that just sound great? Aren't we just so generous?
I think my biggest issue with Side Order is just how different it was when compared to the trailer. Like, from the trailer, it looked like this dark and eerie story that seemed a lot more mature from what we're used to with Splatoon. And then the actual game came out and the tone was just like, completely different? Like, what happened? Did Nintendo think that the original idea was too dark? Did they forget that this is the same franchise where humans were wiped out by climate change and there's a villain that literally blends people alive? Like, huh? It's like I don't know. I think I'm gonna have a stroke if I keep talking about this, so let's just move on.
I will have order!
Okay, I'm saving my most controversial take for last. You saw it in the thumbnail, you knew it was coming. Number 3. The Splatoon manga is not very good. Yeah, there's a reason why I stopped buying the manga after issue 13. It's not even a problem with issue 13 in particular. It was just around the time issue 13 came out that I realized,
Yeah, this kinda sucks.
like, there are a lot of really good video game manga adaptations, like Pokemon Adventures or the Ocarina of Time manga, so like, why did Splatoon get the short end of the stick? My main issue with the manga is just how predictable it is. Like, if you've read one issue of the manga, you've basically read the entire series. Literally every single arc is just, super strong team gets introduced. Team Blue is like, holy macaroni, how are we supposed to beat them? They're too strong. Team Blue battles the super strong team and somehow manages to beat them using the power of friendship or whatever. After Team Blue beats the super strong team, they introduce a new super strong team that's even stronger than the first super strong team. Team Blue battles the super strong team and manages to beat them using the power of friendship or whatever. Rinse and repeat for like 100 issues or however long the manga's been going on for at this point, I don't know. Obviously I'm paraphrasing a lot, but you get the general idea. It just becomes a constant cycle of introducing new strong teams and seeing how Team Blue is going to beat them, and it just becomes really exhausting to keep up with, which is why I eventually just stopped caring about it. Like, every time there was a new team that got introduced, I was just like,
Gee, I wonder how Team Blue is gonna beat this new team. It's probably gonna be by doing something really stupid.
also, and this is a really petty thing to complain about, but I've been wanting to say this for a while, I don't like the fact that the manga just completely breaks the lore for the sake of a stupid joke, because now I have to deal with idiots in my comment section being like, oh, but in the manga, Bobblehead said something about there being puppies, so that must mean that some mammals are still alive in the Splatoon world. Like, no! Shut up! The manga is very clearly not canon to the main games. It's a different timeline with different characters. I don't know, I just eventually realized that they were just gonna keep doing the same stuff with every issue, and eventually I just stopped caring. And to be clear, I'm not hitting on anyone for liking the manga, I'm just not a big fan of it myself.
But that's enough of what I think. What do you guys think? If you have any Splatoon hot takes, then put them in the comments, and maybe I'll read them out for a future video.
Hey, are you the guy that said the Splatoon manga wasn't very good?
I gotta go.